special. And it's not just. We also lost the Oklahoma-Nebraska series. We lost Nebraska-Missouri. We lost. There's a lot of things that have gotten shaken up in all of this shifting around, and hopefully at some point a lot of that can be restored through some other means. So.
Does anyone in this room have the experience of going to an A&M Longhorn game?
Oh, yeah.
I do not.
Okay, see, I do not. So, Travis,
Yeah.
can you just tell us, the years that you were in college, what was it like being a Longhorn fan, a student at that game? You were just a pain in the butt, weren't you?
Yeah. No, it was a lot of fun. It was always a fun trip. My freshman year, we played in College Station. Texas lost. It was a good game.
Yeah.
But my high school buddy, Adrian Walker was a starting tailback for Texas, and my buddy Winford Tubbs, who went on to play linebacker for the Saints and the 49ers, they had moved him to fullback that year when he came in, and when Adrian Walker got hurt, they just put Tubbs at tailback, and he ran 27 times for 147 yards in that game.
Wow! What a debut!
I actually have a follow-up question. Is the atmosphere louder in Kyle Field or DKR?
Ooh. It's louder in Kyle Field.
Kyle Field.
Yeah. Even when they had the open, and part of it is that it is the A&M culture, right? It's the nearest thing you can really equate what the Yale leaders in the A&M student section and all that does is sort of like Japanese baseball, like South Korean baseball, where essentially they have cheers that they do the entire game, and they rarely ever stop. That is much like the atmosphere at Kyle Field, and so it's not necessarily because look, they had years when they weren't very good and the stadium's only 65% full, and so they're great fans. I'm not trying to degrade them in any way, but when they're there and engaged and cheering for a good team, they are always yelling something. And so that's kind of different than a lot of other atmospheres in college football, where there'll be long stretches in the first and second quarter where, except for maybe TV timeouts and the band plays or whatever, everyone's just kind of watching the game. Well, at A&M, they're watching the game and they're starting another cheer of some sort. And so it is a different animal, if you will.
I'm so curious, Travis, you never cease to amaze me when it comes to talking Texas and then your sports knowledge. But brother, how do you know about Japanese and Korean ball? I lived in Korea for a year. I went to a bunch of games, and I can never talk to anyone about it because not a lot of people have that reference.
Yeah.
And they don't watch it. How the heck did you end up watching or knowing about this?
I'm a sports junkie, man. There's just sometimes when you flip past. I'll tell you, the Korean baseball thing comes from the COVID era, because South Korea's professional league started playing with no fans. Right after, by that summer or whatever, and there was nothing else on in the U.S. Nobody else was playing. The bubble hadn't opened yet. There was nothing going on. And so was it ESPN or MLB Network or both of them? I don't know. Started airing South Korea games live.
Okay.
And so if I was up at midnight or so, I'd flip over and there'd be a South Korean baseball game going on. Now, they didn't have fans there, but what they would do is they were showing a lot of the history of South Korean baseball and showing clips from games in the past, and you saw and they've all got these noise makers and they're pounding stuff, and that's kind of where I picked it up from.
I felt out of place because I showed up and I didn't have any noisemakers, and everyone around me is making noise, and so I've said it before. I won't go too far off a tangent. South Koreans are amazing. Mm-hmm. If I had to retire place, I'd go there. They're such a friendly people. But people started offering me theirs.
Yeah.
So like the guy on my right, I'm started using his and I'm clinking, and then I give it back because I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm holding it for too long. And then the guy in front was like, here, you take it. I was like, okay, brother, I'll give me about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then another one comes, someone hits me in the back of the head because they're trying to give it to me. Honestly, this is like peer pressure. They were forcing me, brother. You need to make some noise.
Yeah.
Man, that was fun times. Man, I'm so glad that you brought that up. I almost forgot that.
Yeah.
That was so long ago. It wasn't 1990, Jamal, but it was close. Wow, that's, man, I can't. So Travis, I know we're probably going to get a little bit more on this, but let's get to the playoff and what. I just want to play a what if game.
Yeah.
So if A&M wins this game, they're 8-3. So if A&M wins this, or there's another 2-loss or 3-loss team that wins a Power 5 conference and can make it into the tournament, does that help college football in your opinion? If a 2 or 3-loss team, gets hot and then runs the table?
So, I guess there's a lot of different ways. What we're trying to do with this CFP playoff is we're trying to equate it the best we can to the NCAA tournament, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And while national hosts like Colin Cowherd is the one that I hear do this the most. He's actually on Fox Sports
now,
Radio now.
yeah.
Yeah. But Colin Cowherd's always talked about this. He goes, "You love the underdog in the early rounds, but you want the favorites to be there at the end."
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And it's kind of like that here. Like, especially as a Texan, I think it's really cool that SMU's ranked number 9 right now.
Oh yeah.
They're back.
And I think SMU takes care of Cal, and they're gonna be in the ACC championship game, and they've got a shot. Now, if they lose that game, they're probably out. But if they win, then not only do they in, but they're set up. They'll have a bye in the first round, and so. But now, Boise State looks to be the group of 5 team that's going to be in, right?
Yes.
Now, Boise State has a little more known name. We've seen them beat Oklahoma in a big bowl game. We've seen Boise State, for the better part of a decade and a half, be legitimate. And so I think there are people who are like, okay, Boise State gets in, that's fine, we're fine with that. Do they still have the chops to be able to go toe-to-toe with a Georgia? Or can they really line up head-to-head against Notre Dame or somebody like that? But it's a little more, Boise State feels a little more legitimate.
Yeah.
SMU still seems to feel like the one that because they went from the AAC to the ACC in 1 year, that people are doubting them. But we're trying to equate this thing to the NCAA tournament, and that's kind of the point. Is that if A&M beats Texas, they're in the SEC championship game. They win that. They're in the college football playoff,
And they get a bye.
Yeah.
was
my
crazy
gosh.
to me.
So now, once again, we've seen them be an up and down team throughout the year. Does that really make them a quote unquote national title contender or not? And that's all we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. I don't know. Like, I look at Notre Dame right now, and they beat A&M early in the year. The way A&M's playing right now, would Notre Dame be able to beat them today? I don't know. No, but Notre Dame's playing pretty well, right?
Yeah.
Here's the biggest thing with Notre Dame is they've hit a couple of teams who are on down years. They hit Army and Navy on up years, and then they destroyed them.
Yeah, played their best football ever.
Exactly. I mean, there were a lot of people going into that Army game that were picking Army to pull off that upset.
I was one of them.
And Notre Dame put them away
Yes, they did.
quickly.
Yeah.
So
You smack around Florida State 52-3, down year.
Yeah.
Any other year that would have been a good win.
Yeah.
Stanford, Harbaugh's not walking through that door at Stanford, but it's a big name. They beat them. That Louisville was ranked. They beat them 31-24. At that time, Louisville was 15.
yeah.
So they have a resume. I'm not sold on Notre Dame.
You're not going to mention the team they lost to?
Oh, well, so they lost to Northern Illinois.
Yeah, I watched
Yeah.
that game.
Travis, 16-14.
Yeah.
What does that say to you? Are they the Salukis?
Huskies.
That was the Huskies,
Look at
yeah.
you. I'm impressed by you.
Southern Illinois is the
Southern is
Salukis.
it, and that's where Romo went.
Yes.
That's why you know it, right?
I actually knew somebody who went to school there.
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah.
So when you guys hear, because you want, okay, Jamal, you wanted us to go back to that loss. What does that say to you then that they lost
Frauds.
16-14? Oh,
Frauds.
Oh, wow.
I still think Notre Dame are frauds.
You do
in all
know
honesty.
people are going to call in, right?
Yeah, probably. The Notre Dame fans, the Fighting Irish.
Damn.
Touchdown
You-
Jesus
you're
over
not,
there.
you're not. See, I told you, Travis. He woke up and he had anger in his eye today. He must not have got enough food yesterday.
No, I got a bunch.
And he woke up angry. Okay, so then Travis, 16-14 loss against that team.
That was a really bad look for him for sure at the time. That was early in the season, and they had gotten a really ugly win against A&M.
Yeah.
And then play ugly in that game and can't pull it out. And I think a lot of people were in the mode of writing Notre Dame off at that point.
Yeah.
To their credit, they've righted themselves.
Yeah.
Like Jamal said, their two best games would have been against Navy and Army.
Yeah.
Two teams that you don't have to fear them throwing the ball against.
Yes.
And while, who was it? Was it Georgia Tech that beat Miami?
It was
Throwing
Georgia.
6 passes?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't. There are some teams out there that if they run their offense well enough, don't have to throw the ball to win a football game. But then there are teams out there who just have enough talent to where if you can put 9 in the box, you're going to be able to stop somebody, and that's what Notre Dame was able to do against both Army and Navy. Is they just had better athletes man to man. So, but yeah, I'm like you. I'm still worried about Miami.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
But hey, look, if I'm going to pull myself out of being just a fan and try to look at this legitimately, this game for Texas against A&M is as big as any that Texas had this year. They played, they got themselves back into that Georgia game, and admittedly, Texas played terribly.
They did.
2 terrible turnovers by Quinn Ewers.
Travis.
The offensive line just got decimated. So you can say they played terribly and were in the game late and then faltered and lose 30-15 or whatever. But outside of that, they've played the bottom of the conference.
Yep.
Their one game against the defending national champion turns out to be a team who their coach left them for a reason because he knew they weren't going to be as good as that the next year.
Horrible.
And so so there's a lot of people out there who are looking at this game and going, if Texas, you depend on what pundit you listen to. As a Texas, now I'm going to put myself back in Texas fan mode, right? I'm very worried that if Texas loses this game to A&M, that the voters drop them and the CFP committee drops them out of the playoff. There are some who out there and go, no, Texas is locked in. Their strength of schedule is not great, but it's good enough. The eye test shows that they are good. They certainly didn't play well against Georgia. Now it also depends a lot on how this game goes. If it's a 28-14 A&M win, that's different than a 24-21 win or something. So there's a lot of different things that could play into it.
I agree with you. There's not a signature Texas win this year that you're like, yeah, but they beat
And it's
that
funny.
team.
It's funny because if you look at it, they have 0 top 25 wins, but they have played 7 teams that are going to bowl games.
Yes.
And so it's a weird weight and measure that's going on with Texas.
So you know what? I know we got a long show, so we can finish it later because I know we got the break. But Travis, here's what I need to know. I got 2 questions for you, and we got the rest of the show to get them if you don't want to go into them now. First of all, is Archie Manning leaving? And then second of all, Paul Feinbaum has already started before the game even started, and he has told everybody. He said on the ESPN, if Quinn Ewers struggles, you turn to Archie Manning Arch Manning, quick. So those two things, Travis. If Quinn is going to come back, because he didn't gain any ground this year, and I didn't know he had another year of eligibility. So if he can do another one, Arch has to go, right?
I don't think Quinn's gonna stay just because they showed a little clip on Senior Day. Quinn ran out.
He went out for Senior Day.
He went out for Senior Day.
Yeah.
So
Now there have been guys who have gone out and come back, but they were offensive linemen. They were, Quinn, in my opinion, is not transferring and he's not coming back.
yeah, I agree.
He knows his draft stock has slipped.
Yep.
He also knows he's gotten injured every year.
Yep.
And he needs to get into the NFL and he needs to start working on his body and he needs to work with professional trainers and work on nothing but football every day. And so if that turns him into a 3rd or 4th round pick, I think Quinn's okay with that. He's ready to get to the NFL.
I think if UT can win out, I think he can get his stock back up.
He certainly can.
Honestly.
But to your point, though, that ankle's a concern. And if he doesn't show the ability to move around in the pocket well enough,
Oh my gosh.
I think Sarkisian will have a fairly short leash on him.
And so that was, if you guys were to ask me that question, because I asked Travis, I was going to say if he gets pulled, he has to leave. You can't come back next year if he gets pulled, and especially if Arch wins the game, and then we go on a run here.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if he was going to try to do a Dylan Gabriel and go somewhere else.
No, I don't think so. Dylan Gabriel, I think, felt like he had more to prove on his draft stock. Where Quinn, I think he's just done with college football. I think he came out a year early. I think he probably regrets that at some point. If you got him alone and said, hey, if you had it to do over again, would you have just gone back and played your senior year of high school? I think he would have said yeah. He goes, but from that standpoint, I think he's done with college football. I think he's ready to move on.
It's really funny to me that you mentioned Dylan Gabriel trying to prove more of his draft stock, and he literally goes to a team where he has a lot more better weapons and everything. And it's even draft analysis are looking at it as dude, you're still not a first round
I know.
quarterback.
You don't even hear him brought up. So how are we sure that Texas isn't going to make the mistake that Oklahoma made? So Oklahoma, I'm not going to say they pushed Dylan out, but I don't think they got down on their hands and knees and begged the brother to stay. And it's almost to this same point. Maybe Sarkisian thinks, hey, Jalen Milroe and Alabama aren't that scary next year. If Jalen is going to stay in, which we presume he is, I might be able to do something. Ole Miss, where are they at? They need a quarterback. Carson Beck is leaving, so maybe Georgia's on a down year. Let me bring my boy Quinn back, and let's run it back again. And so, what do y'all think about the coach then? I know you, Travis. You're saying Quinn wants to go, and you're saying that draft stock does matter. But what if Sark is saying, "Yo, brother, come back. I think let's go on a run." What do you think about Sark? Because Sark seems very loyal to Quinn.
He is, and if Corey were here, he would reiterate the fact that one of Sarkisian's goals, one of Quinn's goals, and sort of an overlying team goal was get Quinn the Heisman Trophy this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. He got injured early. He even when he came back, it didn't look like he was healthy. Then he got healthy, and now his ankle's banged up. And that's why I will say this: that if he gets out there Saturday and he looks hobbled in the pocket, and Sark goes to Arch Manning, I would still say that if they then have another outside of a bowl game, if somehow they lose and they're out of the CFP and they're just going to a regular bowl game, we've probably seen the last of Quinn Ewers play.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, if they're in the CFP, I think Quinn Ewers is your starting quarterback in whatever that first CFP game is.
Even if he got yanked, put him back in.
Because it's not going to be because of his arm or his head. It's going to be because of his ankle. And in any future CFP game, that ankle is going to be healed up. You would hope.
Well, Okay.
Tape it up.
Okay. So you're saying if Arch comes in, they get the win. Now the SEC championship though. So are you putting Quinn in for that?
No, so that's
that same ankle.
Once again, they're going to have to evaluate that ankle. Yeah, you're right. But I think Sark would come out the next day and go, Quinn's our starting quarterback if he's healthy. I think that's what Sark would say.
Yeah.
And then they're going to evaluate throughout the week and probably be pretty close to the vest about it right until the end of the week.
Give him that RG3 playoff treatment. You got to go with the best. You got to go with the best, man.
And he was never right after that.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's get to a break. When we come back on the other side, we've got a lot to talk about. A full day of football yesterday, a bunch of stuff coming up this weekend, right here on the Fans View.
Hey, what's up, Austin? It's your girl, Miss Hyder, aka Oxtail Queen, coming to you representing the Humping People All White Day Party on November the 30th from 2 to 6 p.m. We have you call it drink specials, also flavored wing baskets, lemon pepper buffalo and barbecue, as well as seafood stuffed turkey legs. Baby, it's going down. The Humping People All White Day Party at 969 Hyder's Beer Garden and Food Park. Yes, we have DJ Cali from Texas and DJ Jamal in the mix. We're located at 10800 FM 969 Austin, Texas 78724. For more information, please contact Miss Hyder at 512
Douglas Washington Jamal, January. Gentlemen, we talked a lot of Texas A&M. We're going to get back to that at some point, okay. I'm sure. But we do have a caller on the line, so we're going to jump into the phones to start this next segment. Caller, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, Mr. Oklahoma.
How y'all doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Not as good as you.
I am happy. I am happy.
Of course.
That's right.
I'm
And
happy
y'all
for
know
you.
why, don't you?
Yes, we do. I'm happy for you.
But you know what, man? I have to jump. I have to jump around on y'all program because
Yep.
y'all got a lot to talk about now too. But I want to let y'all know, man, they have high school football on today, right as we speak.
Oh.
All day today.
All right.
Any of them catch your eye that you're excited about?
Yeah, well, I'm just, because, on my TV, I have to switch around. I'll be trying to watch the better teams and all that. Travis on 674.
Okay.
They playing right now as we speak.
Wow.
Well, I can tell you that just a quick rundown of some of the things going on. Westlake, 1 o'clock,
Yeah.
1 o'clock kickoff at Burger Stadium
Right.
against Buda Johnson. Lake Travis, a 1 o'clock kickoff against San Antonio East Central. You've got San Antonio. Yeah, I mean, it's just, there are a lot of day games today.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir. And I'm going to tell you, you got a lot of college games, football, basketball
Yes.
on today.
yep.
But see, that's why I like to switch around, man, because I think Boise State, they start playing at about 11 o'clock. Boise State play today.
Oh, okay.
So does Colorado.
Yeah.
Colorado's got every game?
Colorado plays today.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Mr. Oklahoma.
Georgia,
we
Georgia
got to get to the bit. I appreciate you showing that your diaspora of sports knowledge, but brother, we got to get to this. Jackson Arnold ran for 131 yards.
Man,
On Alabama? Is he Johnny Manziel?
I was surprised. And I'm going to tell you, all them Alabama fans, I'm looking at Paul Feinborn show. You know I done on Paul Feinborn show.
I know.
Man, they cried. They want to find show.
They do.
Are you serious?
Well,
Man,
they're
you know
4 and 3.
You know what? Let me say this.
Yeah.
We had to have a game. We were 5. We needed to win a 6 games so we qualified for a bowl game.
Yeah.
We needed that game.
And 2 weeks ago, I told you that you guys were not going to make a bowl, and I
That's
know you
right.
remember that. So
Yes, sir.
I
do.
apologize to you, to your face. right now because that was wrong of me.
Well-
Clearly, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Well, in everyone's defense, I don't think many Oklahoma fans even thought they were going to make a bowl game at that point.
Yeah, he
That's
didn't. He
right.
didn't fight me that
That's
day. I do
right.
remember that.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right.
so well, I'm
You
just
know,
kind of curious.
even I said it. I said it too.
Yeah. So
But then when I saw that game, man, I was shocked. I said, "What?"
So give us the pulse of Sooner Nation. So are you guys now high on Jackson Arnold, and maybe you change him into a dual threat quarterback, and he is your guy going into the next year? Does Venables now get to stay? What's the pulse like for Sooner Nation?
Well, you know, I tell you, if we play like that, I don't have any problems with nobody. you know, Brett Venables, man, our defense was just God.
Whose defense was that? Who did y'all pay?
Yeah.
Because I want camera facial recognition of every dude on the sideline because I thought you brought in an NFL team for that bowl game. Y'all did something. I don't know what y'all did. I want to know if
Man,
those
I
faces
tell you,
match the
man.
next. I'm impressed.
Man, I was shocked.
Yes.
I said, we playing like that, and Jackson all are playing like that?
Yes.
Whoa!
And when he threw the ball, he was 9 of 11.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are pretty happy. You're high in the hog. Just do you have any thoughts on Jalen Milroe in Alabama? Does this mean the end of Alabama? Kind of your thoughts on that?
No, it's not, because, man, those fans, they ready to fire the Alabama coach. They ready to fire him just because of that one game. It's not the end of Alabama. But I'm just saying, we just had a good day, and we need to win against LSU too. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy, man, and I'm gonna tell you, I got to jump around. My who is that number 23 for the Cowboy, that running back? That boy is
Rico
okay.
Dowdle.
Hey, I called that at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, that boy
I
bad.
said by the end of the year, we would all realize he's the guy. I'm so glad that one panned out.
So, Mr. Oklahoma, I have a question. So, because Rico Dowdle,
Yes, sir.
is
Yes, sir.
playing great, do y'all still draft Genty or no?
Ooh.
Oh, you talking about the Cowboys?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, if they do, that'd be good. That'd be good. Long as he don't get hurt.
That sounds like a yes to me.
I would like to have him on now, man.
Yeah.
But we have to draft a lot of other guys too, like defense and offense. And,
Yeah. You
you
can't.
know, offensive linemen. We have to do a lot of drafting, man.
The Cowboys, I think, need
Yeah, I
need
like
to
to have
draft.
him on my team.
Yeah,
I
they-
sure would.
Yeah, they need to draft a running back, but that's going to be a 4th or 5th round pick. That's
Yeah,
not
you
going
think
to
so?
be. Yeah,
You don't think it's
They're
going to be
not-
Genty? Wow.
No, they need to address the defensive line and the offensive line in the early rounds, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
And I tell you, Travis Hunter. If we can get Travis Hunter,
Well,
That's not
I like to get that. I
That's
like to
not
get him.
Nah, y'all. No, I don't think.
That's not
I don't think you're gonna get. You're pretty stacked at wide receiver.
He's
and-
probably going to be a Jaguar. You know, coming from Florida too, the little homecoming. They're definitely going to tank.
No, he's a Georgia boy.
Oh, he's Georgia boy? I thought he was a
But,
Florida boy.
Hey, Jacksonville's right on the
Yeah,
border.
okay.
That's really South Georgia anyway.
Yeah,
Slash
the Georgia
North Florida.
Florida game is played in
Yes, sir.
Jacksonville. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, to remember.
But yeah, okay. So, Mr. Oklahoma, what else? I know you got some other stuff.
Yeah. And I want to say, man, y'all was talking about Deion Sanders. They got whooped last week.
They
That's
did.
what I say. I think like some coaches, just like Nick Saban. Nick Saban was at his right job, stayed at Alabama. Some coaches even just stayed in college. They make a lot of money. Some coaches not NFL. Some coaches are not NFL coaches.
That ain't
But
going.
Deion Sanders, Deion Sanders, I just think maybe a couple of more years, in Colorado. But everybody think he's ready for the NFL, but I don't.
Yeah, Douglas, you weren't here last week, but we had like 3 people call back to back to back because Mr.
I
Oklahoma
know.
made that statement.
Ah.
Trying to
So,
defend Deion.
Mr. Oklahoma, did you look at I know you're going to want to talk a little NFL and some games. Look at the coaches right now. They're young coaches, young coaches that can relate to the modern day athlete. Coach Prime can do that. And I don't think some of these young coaches that are out there, when you look at their resume, you're like, oh, he's ready. But now that they're doing it, you say they're ready. And the NFC North seems to have a bunch of those young coaches up there. And if you see that Matt Eberflus for Chicago can have a job 3 years in a row, win 10 games over the previous 2 years, looks like they're going to struggle to get that fifth win here. So he'll probably finish with 15 wins in 3 years. Tell me Deion couldn't do that.
Yeah, but I don't know that.
Okay. Well,
that front
office will go get him.
I want to tell y'all, man. Let me clarify this. For the listeners, man, I love Deion Sanders. I love Deion Sanders, but just give him maybe another year, even another 2 years, and then he could do that. Because Carter got whooped last week.
So let me
and Alabama fans, stop crying. God, dog it.
So
man, they talking about firing the coach, they crying and stuff. Man, we had to have that game. Yeah. We had to have it.
Yeah.
They did too.
Well,
yeah.
So I want to point out one thing in Mr. Oklahoma's side when talking about Deion and moving up to the NFL or whatever the case may be. Here's the thing that stands out to me, and we know that Colorado hasn't really run the ball well all year long. But it's one thing to not run the ball well. It's another thing to absolutely not even try to run the ball. Yeah. Shedeur Sanders had 4 carries last week, so let's take Shedeur out of the plays because I don't know whether those were any zone reads or they were just scrambles or what. But they ran 6 running plays to running backs.
That's trash.
3 different backs. One got 2 carries, another got 2 carries, and another got 4 carries. That was it.
Travis, wait though. What if this is Coach Prime and Dad understanding the assignment? I gotta get my son to the NFL. Maybe he's intentionally doing that.
He's already there. Yeah.
His stock but he wouldn't have done that if we didn't have last year and then all of this year. Do you think that's the conspiracy, Travis?
I mean, Shedeur threw the ball fine. 79% completion percentage, 266 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But when of course Kansas ran for over 300 yards.
Oh, right. Kansas was amazing.
Neil had a heyday.
Oh my God!
Dominated the clock. Yeah. I mean, 40 minutes of possession time for Kansas in that game. But so I think so. What I'm trying to do in support of Mr. Oklahoma is say that I don't think that Deion right now is a well-rounded coach.
Okay.
Right.
And that's, I think, and if you need him to take over an NFL franchise, you need to know that he is in there trying to figure out, we can't afford to give up 40 minutes of possession time to somebody and let them run for 300 yards on us while we absolutely don't even try to run the football and get some sort of possession game going. And I think that's Mr. Oklahoma's point is he's still a young head football coach.
Okay.
That's right. That's right.
NFL a different animal.
Deion need a little. I think he need a little more time up on his belt, and he probably would do better because when you go to NFL, man, you're going into politics.
Yeah.
You're going into politics because some players don't like this player, some players don't like the coaches, some players don't want to be there and all that kind of stuff. So you go into politics when you go into NFL.
Yeah.
But I love it all. I love it all from high school all the way to the pros. You got a lot of college basketball going on there. I love it.
Yeah.
Oklahoma won last night, barely. They going to the championship.
Texas plays tonight.
It, man, I love the NBA. I love college. I love it all, man. I'm just wanting to preach. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Oh,
and so I'm gonna tell you when I hang up, you're gonna have a lot of callers call in, just because of me, because my viewpoint, I have my own viewpoint. But I love it all. Deion Sanders, everybody. I love y'all, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate you calling as always.
We love it that you're calling.
Hey, Mr. January, Abilene Christian, come on with it. I'll see y'all, man.
Absolutely.
All right, take care.
Oh, we appreciate
Thanks.
it. Thank you as always, Mr. Oklahoma.
Let's go home was about that business then. So apparently y'all had a dust up, and but
Yeah.
he's back and he's saying, "Look, I'm gonna stand on business, and these are my takes."
Yeah.
Okay, I respect that.
I mean, it was just like a lot of Deion fans just calling in and saying that he can do it. He could do an NFL coach. No one's doubt. Mr. Oklahoma wasn't doubting the fact he can be an NFL coach. It's just we've seen the transition from college to NFL not pan out for a lot of good college football coaches.
Yeah.
Urban
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer is a big one.
Nick Saban.
Big save. Like, so you lose like 3 games in a row, you'll jump on the hot seat.
That's
So
right.
You really got to, and he got a good thing going on at Colorado right now. Literally.
I just know as a dad that coaches youth sports.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want your kid to blossom, and I just feel like if it wasn't his son, maybe he'd be a little more even killed with his play calling.
Yeah.
But because it's his son and how bad he wants his son to be a first round top 10 lottery pick, I think that's another reason why he is doing this. Maybe next year, if he stays in college, we might see it different. But I don't know. I feel like he wants to get that boy in that top 3.
No, he's definitely getting drafted top 5 this year. Or
Oh,
top,
yeah.
Let me just say top 8. Just
think-
with all the way the NFL is going to finish out, the season's going to finish out, and the draft picks.
Travis, while we're on it, just right quick, since we were talking Colorado, are you okay that Travis Hunter didn't get top defensive back consideration? Does that matter to you? Even though he may go on to win the Heisman, but teams don't necessarily challenge him, and when they do, he steps up and make those plays, and he's a top lockdown defensive back after playing wide receiver. So
Yeah.
you think, was there a little bias there? What's your take on him not getting the opportunity?
You know, I don't know. I do think that college football has their all these awards have their own little fiefdoms,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
The Doak Walker Award for the best running back, handled up by the Doak Walker Foundation up in Dallas. I mean, they don't really care what everybody else is thinking, right? They're not trying to mimic what the Heisman top running backs are or whatever. And so I think there is some of that some years where, and I'm not saying this is what's happening, where Travis Hunter's getting a little bit more publicity. And by the way, his numbers are better and he's getting more run because of his wide receiver play. And yes, teams don't throw at him, so he doesn't get as many pass defenses
Yes, sir.
as some of the other defensive backs in the country. By the way, they also run the ball a lot on Colorado.
Yes, they do.
And so I think there's just a few numbers things that played against him, and I think it's a possibility that is it the Lott Trophy? Which one?
Thorpe
The
is
Thorpe Award.
back,
The
yeah.
Thorpe Award. The Thorpe committee probably had him on a short list and probably just said, we've got these other guys who have more interceptions and more pass breakups and things like that, and their numbers are just better. And while we know he's really, really good,
Yeah.
he's also going to get Heisman run, and he's going to get run for the Blitnikoff, and he's going to get some other things. Let's concentrate on the guys who are full-time defensive backs, and let's get our award narrowed down to those guys. Is it right? I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it would seem logical to me that would be a conversation they would have, and I'm not saying, and I think they're not wrong. Maybe they're not right either.
Yeah.
There's a gray area there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so, it's just, I don't know. It's hard to say.
It is.
But the guys on the list are great players. Look, I think there are many people. If Corey Moses was here, I think Corey would tell you he thinks Johnny Mayer should win it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That dude's a ball hog.
Yeah, I didn't even. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got some local. Yep, you're right. You're right. Okay, so then what are you guys' takes on Coach Prime saying, fine, when this is all said and done, I'll give him my Jim Thorpe award? And he says he's going to give it to him.
I mean, that's cool. You're still gonna say Deion Sanders. It's not, I mean,
It's almost like the ultimate flex.
I mean, yeah, it really is.
Just to be like, oh, they won't give it to you? Here's mine. Take it. Which I like it. Which, again, he keeps himself in the papers, in the top headlines over at Colorado. So, okay. I'm just kind of curious. You guys' thoughts since we mentioned it.
The Thorpe Award is run by the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame and the Jim Thorpe Association. So,
All right.
don't know. That plays. I mean, I don't. That in itself doesn't tell you anything. But that's what I talk about with these little awards. It's not some college football panel committee. This is a small association of board of directors of a Sports Hall of Fame and what I'm assuming the Jim Thorpe Association probably is a philanthropic organization of some sort that probably uses the Thorpe Award to fund a lot of their philanthropic endeavors, and they look around and they do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Right. And so, is it once again? I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems to me that if I'd have been voting, I would have had Travis Hunter on the short list.
Yeah.
But there's other good defensive backs out there too, and
If you're out there listening and you're curious, so Texas's Jahdae Barron, Ohio State's Caleb Downs, and Georgia's Malachi Starks. Those are the three defensive backs chosen as 2024 finalists.
Now.
And there's one name that I think most people would be, unless you're an Ohio State fan, I mean, most people will say, man, Caleb Downs, take him out.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like a popularity contest, the way I'm phrasing it now.
I saw Ryan Williams embarrass Malachi Starks in that defense in that Georgia versus Alabama
yes, he
game.
did. Oh, my
So,
gosh. Oh, yeah. Hey. And that is, yeah. That's a lasting memory.
Yeah.
Oh,
Literally.
okay. All right. Well, then.
Jet leg spin
you
move.
weren't supposed to put Travis in. I was just saying
Oh, my
I was
fault.
going to take one guy out. You just took two guys out now.
Well, there you go. Nice for sure.
Yeah. All right. So, Mr. Oklahoma really took us into a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Travis, while we're on it and NCAA football, it doesn't look like Colorado's going to get that Big 12 championship now.
They're not. My dad and I are selling our tickets, by the way.
although 9 teams still alive for the Big 12 championship.
Yes, sir. So I was curious. Do you still have an eye on that Big 12 championship? Do you still have Travis eye for the Big 12 guys?
I mean,
No, they need teams to lose, and it's not looking like them teams are gonna lose.
Yeah, it's at this point. At this point, it looks like Arizona State is proving to be the most balanced offensive and defensive team to me. If that's an answer, I don't know if that's an answer or not.
No,
I don't think the problem for the Big 12 when Texas and Oklahoma left is. Like, I think there are some really good teams in the Big 12 this year. They're good football team. I think BYU's a good football team. Arizona State. If Kansas hadn't gotten off to that terrible start, who's to say they're not a top 10 football team in the country right now? I mean, they're playing really good football.
3 straight. I mean, they've done what no one's ever done before. Have that losing record and knock off top ranked teams in a row.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
each were the Big 12 leader,
yeah.
which is what's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So, but the unfortunate thing is they don't have anybody. They don't have an elite team.
Yeah.
And I think that was what a lot of people feared when Texas and Oklahoma left was who's going to become elite for you. And right now, nobody stepped up.
Yeah.
But we got a call on the line, so we're going to jump back into the phones. Caller, you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, go right ahead.
Hey, this is West Texas.
Yeah, West Texas, man. How you doing?
Wes.
Yeah. Listen, I'm full of turkey, man, still, and I'm still sleepy. The reason I called FanView today, I've been searching the internet. They got a lot of lives going on and stuff like that. But they was talking about that Jerry Jones was talking to Deion Sanders about coaching the Cowboys to bring their sons too. Is there any truth to that? You know, that's why I call it. That's why I'm glad we got the fan view, because y'all be blowing about stuff.
Okay, well, hey, we'll take that one. And thanks for calling in, because we're
All
up
right.
against a break. Travis, this sounds like you got to answer this one.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Yeah. So he was curious: is there any truth to Jerry Jones saying that having the talks that Deion and his sons, plural, are coming to Dallas?
One, I don't think Jerry puts that much forethought into football.
Agreed. Yep.
Do I think that Jerry Jones and Deion talk on a regular basis? I actually do.
Yeah.
I do think
I can
so.
see that.
I think Jerry talks to. I don't know that he talks to Troy weekly because of Troy's commitment to Fox, and Troy's made it known that he would have been very interested in working in the front office, possibly as the general manager or president of operations for the Cowboys. And Jerry had no plans of letting anybody from the outside in.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's caused a rift between them, but I don't think they talk. Like, I think Michael Irvin talks to Jerry every week. I think Deion probably talks to Jerry every week. There may be some others. Maybe Emmett still does, or something like that. But so it doesn't surprise me that those rumors are going to be out there. I don't know how you can rig it to where Shador would be available for the Cowboys in some way.
Especially now with like this last win.
Yeah.
What Parsons said it himself, man, we ain't taking for nobody.
And I'm sorry, it's just the numbers just don't work out.
Yeah.
Dak's $60 million a year contract starts next year.
Ain't no point in drafting a QB.
Okay, you guys may not know this. When does Daniel Jones's big contract start? Does that start next year, or was it this year?
No, it
already?
started last year.
Oh, okay.
And so this was year 2. So that's why year 3, by releasing him, instead of $45 million against the cap, it's only $20 million against the
Okay.
cap because his guaranteed money was smaller. So Dak's guaranteed money, I think technically, and I'd have to look this up. What you guys remember what Dak's guarantee was?
No, I don't remember what the guarantee it was. It does seem like there's an opportunity for Jerry to make some considerations if Tua stays healthy these last few games. Because if something happened to Tua, I've always said, okay, I think Miami might want to bring Dak in, and Dak might say, bro, give me the Cheetah and Waddle and Jonnu Smith and those fast running backs. Those are, that's me buying into the conspiracy theory.
$231 million is guaranteed.
Oh my gosh.
So if you cut Dak, he counts $231 million against the cap next year.
Wow.
That's hefty.
And since your cap is only $250 million, that means you got $19 million to fill the rest of the team.
Yeah.
So, in other words, Dak is going to be on the roster for 3 more years, unless he retires.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If he retires, you get to do a lot with that money.
Oh, he ain't doing that, though.
But
He's not, no homeboy hookups for Jerry when it comes to that. Dak's going to get that money.
so,
Okay. Well, thanks, West Texas.
yeah. So hey, let's Washington and Jamal January.
Yep.
Gentlemen, we haven't gotten into, except a little bit about the Cowboys, much NFL talk. Yesterday, Cowboys get a win. Detroit gets a win. All 3 home teams win. What was your biggest takeaway outside of, we talked briefly about Chicago's blunders at the end of the game. Let's talk a little bit about the Cowboys. 2 wins in a row now. Is that a win streak, or is it 3? Or 3 is a win streak. Okay, 3 is a win streak. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I saw this coming. I knew Cooper was going to win games. I honestly did not doubt that Cooper would win games. So it's not a shock to me. What is a shock is how the Giants have screwed up. You skip Drew Lock. You're gonna go to Tommy DeVito. Then you got to come back to Drew Lock. That is bad business. That's ugly. And so that organization is the worst, in my opinion, on how they handled that. If you're trying to tank, there are other ways to do that, I think. But to talk about the Cowboys, I'm glad they got their first home win since last year. I'm glad that there's some excitement in the building. I'm glad that Parsons is in front of the microphone. Those are my big takeaways of the Cowboys. And honestly, fly Cooper, fly. Let them cook.
So here's the question, right? Is that 2 wins in a row, but we still watch this team, and it's not a good football team.
No, they are not. I did not want to say that they're good.
That being said, though, there's a lot of really bad football teams in the NFL right
There
now.
are
Yes.
so many, and it's ridiculous.
So it could be worse. You Cowboys fans out there, y'all, trust me, it could be worse.
And so you look at what's upcoming for the Cowboys, specifically now the Cowboys sit at 5-7.
Yep.
Their next 2 games are against Cincinnati and Carolina, a 4-7 team.
Yeah.
And then what probably is the worst team in the NFL in Carolina.
Yeah, one of the worst. Yeah, top 3 and worst. I agree.
Look, do I think this is going to happen? I do not. One, the eye test tells you Cincinnati is a much better football team than Dallas.
Yeah. That's why the reason I am hesitant to say that the Cowboys can win that is because you have to outscore Cincinnati to win. So you got to put 30-some up to win against that team, and I don't think the Cowboys can do that because that 27-20 included a pick six.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you were supposed to beat the Giants by a lot more. I didn't want to be negative, Travis.
No.
I didn't want to do that to you. Now, I didn't know you were going to be here, so I would have loved to have made some Cowboys jokes today, but I think you should have beat that team with Drew Lock. I think you should have beat them by more. I think you should have put up close to 40 points on that team, and they didn't.
Well, and early on, they stalled out in the red zone a couple times
Yes,
to
they
get 2
did.
field goals.
Yes.
They give up the early drive to give up the touchdown. So New York led their first game in 7 games.
Yep.
So there's clearly a lot that still needs to be done. Can we talk about what might be the ugliest quarter of football? Certainly the ugliest last 4 minutes of a quarter, maybe in the history of the game of football, which was the end of the second quarter.
Yeah.
When neither team, they were both just essentially going 3 and out and punting back and forth to each other. And here's one thing that I noticed. I was actually up in Tyler at my aunt and uncle's house, and by the way, my thoughts and prayers are with them. My Aunt Cindy's mom passed away this week, and so they're having memorial service today. But I'm there with my 3 cousins, and we're all huge Cowboys fans. And I look around at one point, I look at one of my cousins, and I go, you know what stands out to me right now during this? We've now seen the Cowboys in their 2-minute offense 3 times in a row. Hunter Luepke was at running back, and no Kevontae Turpin on the field. Rico Dowdle and Turpin and CeeDee Lamb are your 3 best offensive weapons. And you go through a 2-minute offense with 2 of them not on the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of coaching is that?
Coaches outcoach themselves.
I realize they're in mode where they're not essentially going to run the ball. They're throwing the ball every play. Is Hunter Luepke that much better of a blocker at running back than Dowdle is? Because at least if Dowdle's on the field and you check it down and flare it to him,
Yes.
he might break away.
Yes.
Luepke's just a fullback. He ain't going anywhere. He's going for 4 yards and he's hitting the ground. So
Hopefully you can fall forward.
I don't understand what the Cowboys were doing at that point. To their credit, in the second half, they fed Dowdle the ball and they stuck with it.
Although they were scoreless in the fourth, Giants put up 10 in the fourth, And I mean, to be honest, an inept Giants team outscored them 10-0 in the fourth quarter. I know woulda, coulda, shoulda, but I mean, come on, Giants could have done better and maybe even would have got that win.
It's a late game touchdown, and you're trying for an onside kick. That's not. I mean, yes, give them credit. They scored.
Yes.
They scored, but the game was never really in doubt.
Okay.
I mean, three kicks have been recovered for an onside kick in the NFL this year.
Yeah, out of 38, I think I heard last night.
Yeah, so it's just not a good proposition anymore.
No,
but
it's not.
But yeah, but yes, in technical terms, yes,
Yes.
it was a close game and was down to a one-score game. But in reality, it still never felt like the Giants could win that football game.
Yeah.
To your point, though, this is a team that the Cowboys need to be able to win with less than 24 points. And I don't know how you do that against Cincinnati.
No, not the way. I mean, Chase looks like he's just got anger, and he's just trying to punish people for that contract hesitancy from the Bengals, and he's been showing it every single game. He's just got attitude. He's just trying to hurt people, and if him and Joe Cool get hot, I don't think Cooper can go get it. So what, last game, didn't Cooper get to throw like 60 times? And then this time he aired it out 36 times. I mean, they're already giving her all she's got, Captain. And so he's gonna have to throw 70 times to keep up with Cincinnati. Good luck.
Yeah, that's I have not gone through the stat sheet yet to kind of break down what it is I saw. But so Dowell gets 22 carries for 112 yards. Here's one of the issues for the Cowboys is they just have one running back. All due respect to who Ezekiel Elliott used to be,
Yes.
he doesn't belong on a football field anymore.
He doesn't.
Not here.
I will. Let me give one prop because he had one carry for 4 yards yesterday. That they put him in at fullback with CD as the tailback, and they handed it to him on that short yardage situation. And I thought that's not a bad deal right there. Get him 2 yards behind the quarterback, and then let him get to the line of scrimmage as quickly as he can, and then maybe use a little bit of that power, and it worked out for him. Yeah. But and once again. Do I know whether Deuce Vaughn is big enough to actually carry the ball 8-10 times in a game in the NFL? I don't know. But Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott are done.
Yeah.
And so get rid of them, activate Deuce Vaughn, give Dowdle his 20 carries, and use Deuce Vaughn as your backup running back. And get him some carries and see if you have anything there. Because once again, at least you get someone with speed and breakaway ability on the field that can actually scare people. Because there just aren't enough people on the field that scare people for the Cowboys.
Turning defense into offense. So we got overshown with that pick six. What we have seen in their losses, Joe Cool throws a few balls that the other team could go get. And so if we want a good game against the Bengals, you're gonna have to go get that ball. You can't have I should have got that, pounding the ground, holding your hands on your helmet, and us running the jokes. See, that's why he plays defense, because he ain't got no hands. But you're gonna have to take those opportunities against Joe Cool. That's what it's gonna take to stay in the game. And then maybe we can kick a field goal and get those points. Maybe Cooper doesn't go get touchdowns, but we get interceptions, move the ball a little bit, get 20, 30 yards, field goal range, put 3 up. And sometimes those threes can keep you in a game until something happens. That's the only way I really see this going.
Yeah.
Joe's going to have to help the Cowboys on their way to 34 points to win that game. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they're gonna need over 34 to win that game.
I would agree. I mean, I just I don't see a way to. It's an interesting thought to put in your head.
Yeah.
Of okay, depending on the result of who does Cincinnati play Sunday? Haven't looked at the schedule that closely.
Okay.
Let me see here. Let's look at the NFL
Yeah.
schedule
Might
for the
be a
weekend.
divisional game.
Yeah, so Joe Cool, because this is a down year, he's having a good one. They're playing the Steelers.
Yeah, the Steelers.
Okay.
Okay, so they're playing the Steelers, and it's a home game for them. And then they come to Dallas. So it'll be a home game for the Cowboys the week after.
So it's possible that you could have a 4-8 Bengals team coming to play a 5-7 Cowboys team. And then the Cowboys the next week would have Carolina. And if somehow you found a way to beat Cincinnati and you were going into the Carolina game with a chance to pull even at 7-7 for the season.
You guys made a point. I want to come back to, you guys were making fun of the Panthers, and you were guys saying they were one of the worst.
Yeah.
But they got more wins than the Giants. They got 3, Giants got 2. I'm going to do that math for you. But when you look at the Bengals coming in, let me just tell you the only teams that they beat this year. The Panthers, the Giants,
Trash.
the Browns,
Trash.
and the Raiders. Maybe they're not
Trash.
that good.
Yeah,
So
they're-
Cowboys fans,
And the Cowboys have beaten the Giants twice. They've beaten the Browns. They somehow beat the Steelers.
Travis, we were trying to make the Bengals look weaker. I didn't know you were going to jump on and make the Cowboys look weaker. Wrong team.
No, it just struck me at how they've essentially beaten the same team.
Yeah, you're right. I know. And because we don't know what they're going to do against the Steelers. The Steelers they're overachieving. Can you guys believe Mike Tomlin has never won Coach of the Year?
That is crazy to me.
That is crazy.
That's like we were talking about the Jim Thorpe Award and how that ranking goes. Are they wrong or are they right? Maybe they're saying, well, he finished 500. He should do that.
Even the year they went like 8-0.
Never.
They went like I think it was 8-0, right? We went to the playoffs and lost in the first round. Yeah, not even that year.
Yeah, he has never won it.
Wow.
I know that's a shock. So this Bengals team may not be that. They may not be that tough. You gotta. They're a bully, so they'll come out. They'll give you a couple punches, and they just want to see: are you gonna go into your shell, or are you gonna stand up and poke your chest out? And that's up to the Cowboys right now. And if you listen to Parsons, they're gonna poke the chest out. So. Man, I feel like I talked myself into saying Cowboys gonna beat the Bengals. I'm going to say it.
Wow.
I really think so.
Think so?
Yep. I have talked myself into it. 512-836-2887. Who's coming with me?
He said,
Jamal, are you coming with me?
the Cowboys being the Bengals.
Yes. You know what? Even if you would have said
'Cause
yes, I don't want no pity yes.
It's in Cincinnati, right?
It's
in
a home
Dallas?
game. It's in Dallas.
It's in Dallas?
Yeah. And the roof might be open to play the Sun games.
I think, like you said, I think Jamar's gonna be too angry, man.
Okay, you know what? I didn't want to talk to you anyway.
Wow.
Travis!
It's because I got the throwback jersey on.
Yeah, see, you came in with anger today. Travis,
Yeah.
come along with me. Cowboys get the win against Cincinnati. Come along with me, Travis.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, no!
You're
All
like,
right.
Marion don't know.
Yeah, I may have to go get our former station manager. I thought somebody may go along with me here. Yeah. So Cooper Rush is
So one of the things I want to talk about the Bengals real quick,
Okay.
and why it is that they are struggling the way they are.
oh help me.
So we did talk early in the year, the whole T. Higgins situation,
Yes,
where T. Higgins wants out of there,
Yeah.
they can't let him.
but he's still there. He's been active and inactive because of injury, supposedly. I don't know how injured he really was, but
yeah.
kept him out of games. We talked early in the year about when you have disgruntled players, it's just not good for your team overall. That you need to get rid of the quote unquote cancer. We talked about this with the Raiders and Devontae Adams. When a player of those calibers come out and just say, I don't want to be here anymore, unless you just roll out some red carpet and make them really happy, it's best to try to move on somehow.
Absolutely.
Is that part of the effect
Yep.
on this Cincinnati team? Because you look at this team. You have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. You've got Orlando Brown Jr. on the offensive line, Ted Karras, Alex Cappa. It's a good offense.
Yeah.
This should be a top 5-6 offense in the league year in, year out.
And you went and got, with the 18th pick, you went and got Mims out of Georgia, that
Yep.
offensive tackle, and then you follow that up with Chris Jenkins out of Michigan.
Yep.
Come on. And then you went in third round, you went and got a Alabama wide receiver, which
And the kid from Princeton too. Don't
nobody
forget about
cares
him.
about that.
The kid from Princeton's like their second option.
Yeah.
The decathlete, yeah. I forgot.
So,
I can't pronounce his last name.
Iasovis.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
that
him.
guy. Well, he's Slavic. You guys give me a hard time on the Klubnik, but Iasovis is also Slavic. But so what you're saying is they get off to the bad start. They're 0-3, so they lost to the Patriots, to the Chiefs. All one-score affairs. The Commanders, the upstart Commanders, who they thought that was the LSU Bowl. Two LSU quarterbacks, Heisman quarterbacks, going at each other. And then they right the ship against the Panthers, as well should have.
Yep.
And then they just go on again. They lose to the Ravens by 3. It's
Can't get past some good teams, man.
so that's that off season, that off season work, and then that preseason work of just getting that time and everyone just getting together. But to your point, you can't lose T. Higgins though.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that stops you from triple teaming Chase. Because I'd be I'd have two safeties over the top.
Well, I don't know, cause like I said, that dude from Princeton,
Oh, he's
he's
legit.
it's already looking like they're getting ready to replace
I know.
T. Higgins and
I
everything.
know.
So,
But the thing that works against the Cowboys right now with the holes that their defense has been, and the yards and the points their defense has been giving up, is the last 2 games Joe Burrow's thrown for 428 and 356.
God.
So Burrow seems to have hit a stride. Now,
Yeah.
here's the other problem, which makes them a lot like the Cowboys, right? They can't run the ball. Their highest rushing output is 80 yards this year. But I'm sorry, they had a rusher run for 120 yards against the Raiders.
okay, that's the Raiders though.
Exactly.
Well, that's still a good D line
Well,
with Crosby and Wilkins.
When Mixon is looking this good, I thought that's what you were gonna say.
Yeah.
When Mixon is looking as good as he's looking this year, now that he's gone, and he's made it pretty aware that he didn't want to leave. Oh, but is that another little hangover that the team has?
Yeah.
Because he seems like he's a good locker room guy, coachable. You didn't hear any bad things. He's fitting in over in Houston. That also hurts. So that organization might have screwed up this year.
They're taking for Genty.
Oh,
After hearing what y'all said, they're taking for
okay.
Genty.
Yeah. Since the Cowboys, like you said earlier, since the Cowboys ain't gonna go get him.
Yes, and that's just they're
Travis?
not gonna get him. Even though mock drafts I've looked at said that Genty to the Cowboys, but after seeing Rico Dowdle do this, watch Cincinnati lose this game just to make sure they get that spot.
I feel bad, Travis, because I wanted to be right because I called Rico at the beginning of the year, but I don't want to be right if that means you can't get Genty. And if you're saying third round, man, that means now you're going to get
Ollie
Dylan's-
Gordon.
I just think the Cowboys have way too many other positions that they need to, because you know the NFL is showing us, and we go back to the whole running back question of paying Zeke too much, and do you pick running backs in the first round? And this has been a big NFL thing for the last 5-6 years, right? But the NFL is showing us that you can find a solid running back in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds in this league. And when your defense is as bad as the Cowboys is, now some of it's injuries.
Yeah.
but and your offensive line is clearly not that good right now, and you need to fill holes there. There's just too many needs ahead of the running back position that I think you need to fill.
Okay,
So-
then I'm just going to say third round, Dylan Neal, who we just saw at Kansas, is going to the Cowboys.
It wouldn't be a bad
Third
pick.
round. Third
Would
round.
not be a bad pick at
Okay,
all.
No.
all right.
No. So, all right, we got a call on the line, so we're going to jump into the phones. Caller, you there?
Hey,
Oh, it doesn't sound like you have a good connection. Say something again, because we.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yep,
Yes,
yep,
sir.
we got you.
All right. How you guys doing? It's good to hear you. I was listening to your podcast, whatever, and enjoyed the sports talk. I got a question
Uh-huh.
mainly about cornerbacks on every level. I've noticed a disparity where they're not being trained when they go in the wide receiver. They're not watching the wide receiver's head. They're watching his body. So when the wide receiver turns for the ball, they're not turned to locate the ball as well. And especially with Dallas, I see that's the problem they're having with the cornerbacks is they're not. I don't know, I mean, they're pros, but they're not trained to watch the wide receiver's head action. I just want to hear your take on that about as far as cornerbacks having their head on the swivel and being more, watching the receiver. And I'll hang up and listen. Thank you for taking my call.
I appreciate it.
Oh, hey, we get to talk some technical. I went to a few camps. I'm so excited to get to this. I went to a few camps, and I agree with the caller. You guys know I coach youth sports. Longtime listeners know that. And I have seen that there is a lack of skills nowadays when it comes to coverage. So cornerbacks need to be able to cover receivers in man-to-man and zone coverage. And those are two totally different things. And I am seeing a lot more zone. There isn't as much man-to-man skill sets out there. I don't see the fire and desire, the kids' eyes trying to do that. Now, I think, Travis, in our day, we had the Deion Sanders. Everybody wanted to be the Deion Sanders. Everybody wanted to be some lockdowns, the Charles Woodson. We had some dogs back in the days, and I just don't think I think that's part of the problem. And being able to his point, being able to react to receivers' movements, I think that's a measure of us coaches. We're not teaching that. He said watching the head. Now, I don't teach to watch the head. I teach them to watch the hips.
Watch the hips,
But yeah, no, you have to be able to. First of all, it's about you got to get that speed. Get up close to the person, and then when you get side by side, if you're fast enough, if you didn't get lost on a couple of quick moves, get close to him, and then you turn and look for the ball. I think that's about as far as we're going nowadays.
I think that there's two things, right? And I never played the corner position.
It's rough. It's so
oh,
hard.
I really don't have any frame of reference here. But if I go back to my basketball days, I watched the belly button when I played defense, right?
Yep.
You cannot go anywhere without your midsection following you.
Yep.
You can throw your head and you can move your feet as fast as you want, but if your belly button doesn't go in there, you ain't going there. And so when you guys say watch the hips, I can see that as well. One of the things he's talking about in turning their head is on the deeper throws down the field, and at that point, I think you're watching the eyes of the receiver, right? And you're waiting for that because the receivers get this. I mean, when the ball's coming, your eyes react to that,
Yes.
and that's when you know as a defensive back you need to get your head around because that ball is on its way. And so I think that's really, as I listen to the caller, that's the first thing that popped into my head is I'm like you guys. I think when the receiver's in front of you, you got to watch his hips.
Yes.
But when you're running downfield on that deep ball, then you got to watch his eyes, or wait for his hands to get up into that receiving position, and so that to get the head around.
You would be shocked nowadays if you guys go to the camps and you can look at these corners. There are very few corners that can effectively bump and run to slow down. And as I was telling you, I wasn't the fastest guy, and I'm a short guy, but I've always been strong. So I want to get my hands on, especially a taller, lankier guy who I know is faster than me. I got to bump him. So, man.
Yeah.
We can do a whole show about that.
The other part is, of course, Trayvon Diggs is injured now. Deron Bland was out for a while. But when Bland and Trayvon Diggs are in there, those guys are ball hawks.
Yes.
And so whatever teaching they've been given, I'm going to kind of let them go with it. But, yeah, maybe you're right with some of these backups with Josh Butler and maybe some other guys who have been playing, C.J. Goodwin. But, we'll just have to see moving forward what they're able to do. We need to get to a break. We'll come back on the other side. 88.7, Travis Kent alongside Douglas Washington and Jamal January. And talking mostly NFL right now. We do have some time to get calls in this last segment of the show as well, though. Talked pretty much about the Cowboys and talked a little bit about even looking ahead at that matchup next week with Cincinnati. But let's talk about the rest of the NFL slate this weekend after we're 3 games deep and we got a game tonight.
Yeah, we do.
We got Friday night lights in the NFL.
Prime. Nobody's excited, or we know that the Raiders always play
Well,
because they're doing a quarterback change. So
they are. But I don't know if you remember that day, them callers that called.
I know
talking about that silver
I'm
and
ready.
black.
Hey, 512-836-2887. Bring the smoke. Especially when we talk Chiefs, Travis. They rise up. That Raider Nation wants to remind us. But Travis, are you excited about this game, knowing that we're going to a new quarterback for the Raiders? This is a home game for the Chiefs. Man, it's gonna be a blowout, right?
It is going to be. I think it's going to be a blowout. This year is probably every year changes, right? Because you have the team you follow. You probably if I'm like a lot of other people, I've got the team I follow.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of teams that I kind of follow in the background. Probably for me, it's the Texans, and right now the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Some of it could be related. Like the Texans is probably always going to be because they're in Texas. They're probably always going to have one of those slots.
Yes, sir.
And then the Chiefs right now, I'm kind of a Patrick Mahomes guy right now, and so
He's a Texas boy too.
So then you kind of fill in the next tier with teams that you kind of keep an eye on, and that one moves every year based on who's good, who's not, what player, what Longhorn player am I? My Atlanta Falcons are one of those for me now because I'm always looking for what Bijan does. So so those will always move. The Raiders have fallen completely off the radar.
They're not what they used to be.
And it's been a long time since the Raiders have been completely off my radar. I can't tell you that I know much about what's going on with the Raiders except that they're not any good right now.
I even liked them when they had that running back that played at Arkansas, McFadden. The McFadden years, the Tim Brown years, of course, the Super Bowl run, the Gruden years. We'll give them that. But yeah, it's been a very long time since they pulled me in, and I think that's another reason why the draft is going to go the way it's going to go. We want eyes on the Raiders, and they need to draft. And
I think the only guy that interests me, the Max Crosby, is really the only. He's the only guy that interests me.
Wait, Brock Bowers. I think you like Bowers.
You know what? I do like Brock Bowers. He's on my fantasy team, so that's the only reason I even keep up.
But we're surprised that this good. It's his rookie year. He came out of Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Rookie year coming out of Georgia, and you hold him in almost as high esteem as you do Kelsey or Kittle. Right?
100%. He looks like a 15-year NFL wide receiver.
Yeah. But that's about that's it. He's got to get the ball.
That's right.
We know he should be fed the ball even more, but that just tells you the lackluster. I mean, when Gardner Minshew is your guy. Eesh.
By the way, a 2:00 kickoff. You like that on a Friday after Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Okay.
Because some of us got to go do that Black Friday stuff. Obviously, nobody in this room, unless you went and bought that jersey today before you came in. But I got out of. My wife does a lot of online, so I don't have to hit the streets anymore. Grandma's in town visiting. Shout out Svetlana, how are you? She ain't listening, but I think they may hit a 1 or 2 stores today for her.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us dudes, we got to chase our woman around. These two, a couple early morning. Those. I used to work at Best Buy in college, Travis.
Yeah.
And I remember one year we were giving DirecTV dishes away for like $9.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, it was a madhouse. People were ready to fight. Because I had never seen that. I don't do that Black Friday stuff. Yeah. I wasn't a man of means growing up. My mom ain't had money like that. But that's the first time I've seen people pushing and shoving, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's what I think.
Well, certainly, I bring that up because more and more corporations, anyway, like I work for an insurance company, and we're closed on this Friday. There was a long time when you got Thursday off, but you didn't necessarily get Friday off, and now, so obviously retail, they're working today.
Yes.
Banks are open because the stock market's open. So there's some things that are definitely open. But a lot of companies, especially non-essential day-to-day type employees, are given the Friday after Thanksgiving off. And so I just thought, I still was a little surprised that they went with a 2 p.m. kick.
Yeah.
Is it also because they know they're treading on other people's territory? This is NBA's day. This day is normally the NBA day, and so they don't want to go up against primetime. Maybe the NBA said, "Nah, brother, y'all can't do it at night. Y'all can get the afternoon." So, do you think that is a part of it?
That college football is going on today too. Like this.
Yeah, it's a great day for sports. It is a great day, and it's cold here in Texas. Yeah. It's cold. It was 38 degrees today. Just the weather report. Was anybody else afraid? Travis came out the house in short sleeves. I
got a jacket in the car.
I'm a snitch on him,
yeah.
people. Cold-blooded Abilene over there,
Not cold-blooded
and me.
Abilene.
We got we at least have on long sleeve shirts. But.
We do. So to your point, Emirates Cup. The next to last night of pool play is tonight. You got to play tonight, and then on Tuesday, the Mavericks play Tuesday at home against the Grizzlies. The Mavericks are in a position right now to advance.
I have a question for you. We got to get to Mavericks. We got to get to Mavericks because I got a question.
Okay.
Are y'all have buyer's remorse with Clay? Is Clay a liability? Y'all are seeing.
No,
you guys are happy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that that it's hit its stride, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to give it 40 games.
Okay.
Before I really, here's my point on that. Go back to when Kyrie got to the team.
Yes.
And it was only the last 20 games of the season.
Yes.
And everybody thought, okay, Luka and Kyrie together, this is going to work. And then they were awful. And then they missed the play-in game. They were out of the playoffs. They come back the next year, and about 10, 15 games in the season, all of a sudden Luka and Kyrie started figuring out how to play with each other. Yeah. I just think it takes some time. Clay's been playing with the same group of guys for 15 years. Draymond and Steph, and he's been playing with the same guys. Now he's got to learn to play a different way. Luka's got to learn that he can trust a guy to shoot from the outside. They also have to realize that although they used to be wide open on the outside, some defenses are not going to leave Clay wide open. And you have to remember, okay, if the defense doesn't slide inside, I got to be prepared to finish at the basket instead of kick it out all the time. And so there's a lot of moving parts for the Mavericks right now, trying to figure out how to play.
I don't want to argue with you.
No, go ahead.
Because you politely allowed us to jump into the Mavericks right there because we were talking that football. But his numbers have been declining. See, to your point, Kyrie was still Kyrie. They just weren't winning. Luka was still Luka. They still had good numbers. They just weren't winning it like they were until that final 20. Mm-hmm. His numbers are down. He's at 38% field goal. Y'all brought him in. Y'all wanted him to light it up because, Tim Hardaway could do 38. And then we're not getting the elite defense from Clay like we used to. And so what about that part then? The fact that his numbers are down, these are some of his worst numbers. He's never had a field goal percentage this low, and even his rookie year he was higher. So what about just the lack of numbers? Do you think they'll come back up? Was that what you were saying, is he's played with other guys, and when he finds his niche, then he'll shoot better, do better?
I think so. I mean, and to your point, you say, 38% for Clay is bad. And Tim Hardaway Jr. could have done that. Well, Tim Hardaway Jr. did it by shooting 50% for 3 games and then shooting 15% for 6 games.
Oh, no, the average.
You can't have that.
The law of averages.
Clay's at least going to be more consistent for you. But, there is There's certainly some concern that it didn't work out. But I will say this as a Mavericks fan, that I won't second guess the move.
Okay.
Because you had to make a move, and this seemed like a great move to me. So I'm not gonna Monday morning quarterback them by saying you screwed up. I'm just gonna say if it doesn't work out, you just got to go. They tried. Hey man, they gave it a shot.
That's fair.
It's what I don't know what else we expected them to. 40% 3-point shooters don't just grow on trees. There's a bunch of them out there, yes, but they're not all available, and some of them you can't take. Their defense is bad, or this is bad, or you can't do this, or so they took a shot, and I'm like I say, I'm giving it 40 games. That'll get us nearly to the All-Star break. If we don't see some improvement by that point, then we may need to figure out if we need to shuffle the lineup different, whatever we need to do.
I know you said you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
When I look at the Mavs, I'm going to look at their draft pick. So the Mavs I was just kind of curious who they took in the first round here in this last. It doesn't look like they had a first round pick.
I don't think they had a pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because Dalton Knecht out there in LA looks good. Now I don't know if he would have lasted all the way to the end, because the Celtics had the 30th because they made it to the finals. I don't know where y'all's draft pick went. Apologies, not knowing that. Okay, I was just there were some guys that were out there that I was just kind of curious coming in. Dalton is the one who just sticks out to me, and the way he's lighting it up. He's now a starter over there in the Lakers. Yeah. And oh, by the way, kudos. Are we proud of that coach? He's looked like he's figured out the game. And
JJ?
Yeah. I've been impressed. Travis, have you been impressed with JJ?
No, I have.
Okay.
I have, yeah.
And so he took Cam Reddish out, Duke product, and he put Dalton in because he wants that firepower. And he wasn't really getting that type of offensive stability out of Cam Reddish. He's getting that out of Dalton, and he's a rookie. So lively legs. He's playing, pretty good defense. So I was just wondering if those kind of shooters maybe you guys could have got. When I look at the free agents, there's some other guys, but you're right. I'd just be Monday morning quarterback in that.
Just as a Maverick fan, one other quick thing on there. The move to get Klay Thompson meant that you shipped Josh Green off to Charlotte. Josh Green is continued. The Mavericks assigned him to a 3-year extension a couple years ago. He's continued to slide as well.
Yeah.
And so from the standpoint of you sent Josh Green away and you brought Klay Thompson on your team, Klay Thompson is playing better than Josh Green right now. Klay Thompson is not playing how we hoped he would, but we're better off than standing pat. If we'd have just stayed with Josh Green, I think we would be worse off right now. And so at least from that one standpoint, you can say, look, they swapped out a player who's on the decline, a young player who's on the decline, maybe brought in an older player who's on the decline, but is still probably at a higher level than that other player was. So that's the only other argument I would make.
Jared McCain, I forgot about him. Came out of Duke. The 76ers have him, and he's getting a chance to shine now because, Embiid is out, Paul George hyperextend another leg. But Jared McCain looks amazing right now. So,
in my opinion, he's the front runner right now.
For Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
Hold on.
As he said.
Dalton's going to have something to say because Dalton's going to get these minutes now. I think he's going to stay entrenched as a starter. So let's see now that he could be a starter. But I'm excited about that. Oh, and then Zachary, the number 1 pick in Atlanta, looks good.
Yeah, he does.
He does look good. Just unfortunately,
Trae Young,
they got other talent out there, and they're not depending on him. But when he went out and got that 37-point game, and he hit like 6 3-pointers
right after that.
I had him. Right after that, me too. I did drop him because Hunter came back, and it's messing with the minutes. All right, we threw a little NBA in there.
Since you're missing the Hawks, just like Trae Young.
22 assists the other day.
22 assists.
Oh, wow.
To give the Cavs their second loss of the season.
Yeah. Well, that tells you how good the Cavs are and their coach, because I had no love for their coach.
Really?
And, man, you can no. I didn't know. I didn't think he knew what he was doing and how to use Spider-Man. What he was going to do. They brought in No, Collins with Utah. They brought in what's the big guy? With Jared Allen. Allen.
Yeah.
So I didn't think he knew what to do, and then you got Garland trying to fit in with Mitchell. I just didn't think he knew how to do it, but he's doing it.
He used to coach Jared at Brooklyn.
So
He's Brooklyn's okay.
So he knows how to use them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so if we're saying that, then does Trey Young? Is he a Texas kid? Where did he grow up? Do you remember?
I think he went to college in
He
Oklahoma.
played at Oklahoma, but
Where is he? I don't know where he's from.
I
Okay.
forgot. I
Yeah,
forgot.
all right.
I forgot where he's from.
Let's get this call then.
he's from Lubbock.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
Hey, Carly, you there?
Yes, good morning.
Hey, Flugerville man, how you doing?
You can't complain, man. I tell him, man, as a Cowboy fan, I'm with him on that thought, man. Yeah.
Hey.
The Cowboys don't get mopped by the floor. I said, no, man, they don't play.
Okay.
Forget your game winning streak, man. If they play anywhere close to how they played with those 2 games, we got a chance to beat them, man. Let's say that. They're in Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I think, okay, so Travis, does that sway you? The confidence that they just got 2 wins. They beat their long-term rival, the Commanders, and then they stand up and, I guess, long-term rival. I don't think any Cowboys fans like the Giants. Does this momentum sway you that they're feeling good about themselves, that they're not tanking?
Well, I mean, they're not, they get too many coaches and too many players on this team who are playing for their next jobs to tank. But, there's something to that.
Okay.
I mean,
All
we'll
right.
see.
Good job, Flugerville man.
Jay, now, how you doing?
What else you got?
Okay. Hey, I just want to say, y'all were mentioning running back. We got a pretty good one, man. They discovered our stake on the bench named Dow, man. He had 98 yards the other game with Washington. He had almost close to 100 yards here when we played with Giants.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, anything's anything in football. But I got to get back to work. I just want to add my little 2 cents.
All right. Thank you, Flugerville man. We appreciate it as always.
Pflugerville man, the most productive employee in America. He says, because, there's the thing. If you got smokers and they get smoke breaks, the rest of us get fans view tapes.
That's right. Exactly.
So while they're smoking their cigarette, I will take some time and I'll call in the fans view.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that. Appreciate them calling in on a smoke break. Travis.
Yep.
One last thing on the Mavericks.
Okay.
Are we worried about health? What are we seeing here with Luka and health? Coming off the Olympic year, always been kind of a heavier guy. No one's ever going to say that he's the Adonis.
Right.
Any worries there about long-term health, or what are we seeing? A declination? We don't never know what he does in the offseason, right? When he leaves the country?
Yeah, I don't. There's always concern with Luka and lower body. It seems like his every year. He wears those long tights.
Yes, sir.
And so
to hide?
Yeah, seems like every year, like by the middle of the first quarter, like there's a blood stain already on one of them. I'm like, dude, what's he got going on in there? Like, and just the way he plays the game, look, that's every NBA star, right? Is going to be playing a physical game because everyone's going to try to body them up on the defensive side of the end, and then offensively, teams like to one-on-one him up and try to beat him up on his defense as well. But there's always some concern there. But I think for the most part, he's still young enough. He's played a lot of basketball. I think the concern for me will come in, and I kind of think over the next several years, we may see some back injuries start to creep in. He's just played a lot of basketball.
Yes.
He's been playing professional basketball since 16 years old. Mm-hmm. And then your body, after a while just starts to, guys like LeBron don't exist that often.
No.
It's much more the norm that injuries start to creep in. And so that's when it's going to start getting concerned for me. Load management nowadays, he's missed, 3 games in a row now, which the Mavericks have actually played pretty decently with him out.
Hey,
So
Washington, they got my last name there, but Washington looks really good. Isn't he on like a 4-game heater of 4 straight double-doubles or something?
Yeah, something.
He's been balling.
He
looking
is.
really good in that void.
The bigger issue for me is Lively and Gafford staying healthy throughout the year.
Yeah.
Because those two guys, when you're able to have one on the bench and the other one coming, they play such the same style of basketball and are so effective at it that you can run the same offense all game long when they're both there. And when one of them's out and you bring Dwight Powell in, it just changes the dynamic of that offense. And yes, there's concern. If you ask me though, who from an injury perspective concerns you the most from a season standpoint, it's the Lively Gafford deal. I want both of them healthy and on the floor because we're just not quite as effective with one of them off the floor.
Well, going into the holiday break, the Mavericks are able to take out the Knicks, the trying to find themselves Knicks after they did an amazing change at the beginning of the year to swap out Karl Anthony Towns and send Randall away. So I don't know if you want to judge yourself against them in that game, but you'll take the win.
You take the win.
It was by 15.
Yeah.
I really like. Brunson went off. He got 30 points, but Dinwiddie coming in.
Spencer.
I've always knew he was talented.
Yeah.
How are you guys keeping this guy happy to be on the team? What I need to know, contract or what?
Yeah.
What a fit.
He was a big starter in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I don't know how they got him over, but well done.
All right, so we got a caller. We need to jump back into the phones. Caller, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is my first time tuning in. I listen to KAZI all the time, but
Okay.
as far as sports and the podcast with you guys, man-broing with the football and whatnot, I think it's beautiful. It gives me a lot of knowledge as far as football, so when I sit with the guys, I'll know something. I'll have some kind of input, and I really appreciate it, man, because you guys sound like y'all are on the job.
Thank you.
I mean, you guys sound like professional, broadcasters. And what I'm doing is my hat's off to you guys, man. I'm really proud that you guys are doing what you're doing. Okay?
Well, thank you.
And
Thank you very
I got
much.
One more
Yeah.
thing else to say. Being a woman, and I'm a tennis player. I played semi-pro, black tennis player.
Hey,
But I'm
if you
a
give
vet
lessons,
now, and I
text me.
don't play, so tennis was my sport. So I'm kind of, football is like really not that important.
Yeah.
However, I got something for you guys. I got a course. Well, I guess it's somewhat of a question, but this is something that a woman knows. She knows the player that ran the ball the longest. And guess who that was? P. Diddy.
That ran the ball the longest?
Well, has the longest balls.
Oh,
It's a joke.
That was like,
okay.
It's corny, I know, but P. Diddy knows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to, and I'm sorry.
Thanks.
He has the longest ball run. You know that.
Yes.
He has the longest ball run.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for your listening. I love you guys.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you for calling in. Yeah.
Okay, I thought we were gonna get quizzed on like who's number one in singles rankings right now for men and women. So when you said women, I was gonna say, but it is Sabalenka is number one. To talk a little tennis. I love tennis though. Hey, Travis, when we come back to NBA, since the first year of NBA Cup passed, have you been interested in NBA Cup so far this year?
Okay, so there's two parts to this. Is last year I talked a lot about I didn't like the timing of it early in the season. You guys were a fan of it early in the season because you didn't want it to overlap with some other stuff. So I get it. I understand that. So it was just a difference that we had. The second thing was Dallas lost early and was out of the hunt.
Yeah.
Dallas is in the hunt this year.
Oh, Travis.
Bias. That's hilarious.
Your fandom is showing.
But that is part of it, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that when I will say that this year this is probably the most NBA game watching I've done early in a season. I used to be Mr. Oklahoma type guy where I didn't even look at the standings
You've said
until
that.
after Christmas or
Yep,
whatever.
yep,
So
you said that.
So more and more I've gotten to where I at least keep up with it. Maybe this NBA Cup has helped do some of that as well. Okay. But I've probably and there's more to it. I still right now I'm in awe of LeBron being able to do what he's doing at his age, and so I feel like that if he's on TV and I've got time to watch it, I feel like I want to watch it because I'm watching something that I'm probably never going to see. I just don't think I'm ever going to see a 40-year-old be able to dominate a basketball game.
Have all these triple doubles that he's currently having.
I just, we can talk, and this is not meant to start a best player in the history of the game type conversation or whatever. But Jordan was done by the time he was 36. And we can talk all we want about him taking 2 years off and playing baseball. Mm-hmm. Maybe they would have won 8 straight titles. Let's take all of that. But by the time Jordan's body betrayed him at like 35 or 36 years old, and it was done. I went and watched him play with the Wizards. That was not the Michael Jackson. I can say I got to see Jordan play. I saw him score 20 points in the game. But that was not the Michael Jordan I used to watch on TV.
No, not the tongue wag.
So yeah, that he's been able to continue to do it at this high level, it's gotten me interested as well. So.
Well, the Mavericks in NBA Cup West Group C, they're in second place. Mm-hmm. The Warriors are ahead of them at 3-0. So, Mavericks 2-1. Respectable. Not eliminated yet, as Travis said. The Pelicans are eliminated, and then Nuggets and Grizzlies are, they're out. So
the thing I just like about it is like we get to see teams like enter like in that final tournament that we don't usually see in the playoffs.
Yes. Yes.
That's the one thing.
Play meaningful ball,
Absolutely.
Trying their best. Okay.
Trying to get that money.
Yeah.
For all them bench players on the team and everything.
Yes.
Like Giannis said.
All right, guys, we are at the end of it, so we need to wrap it up and get out of here. Hey, we appreciate all the calls for a Turkey Day +1 show.
Really.
A lot of good calls today. Appreciate you guys coming in.
I was Travis, I was going to say that. I'm impressed that you guys came in. Because
back in the old days, this was old school marathon day, and we would come in every once in a while and do a day after Thanksgiving show, but a lot of times they would say, "No, we got somebody else filling that spot. They're doing the old school marathon." So
we didn't get bumped.
Travis and Douglas, don't spend all your money today on Black Friday.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, you could say it. That don't mean I'm gonna follow it. You ain't the boss of me.
I appreciate everybody. We'll see you next week here on the Fans View.